Hi there, welcome, and thank you for joining the Callbridge webinar, Reducing Your Conference Call Anxiety. My name is Kara, and I am the Global Account Manager here at Callbridge. And with me is Sarah, who is our Technical Wizard and our Customer Success Manager. So we're both going to go through a few things for you. Hopefully give you some ideas about how to better prepare for calls that you're going to have and how to better address some issues if they happen on your call, and subsequently reduce the anxiety you have about your meetings. So just a few administrative things. We have the call in presentation mode. We'll be talking about that throughout the meeting. Actually, we want to reduce the background noise that would come in from any participant lines. If we have dogs barking or ambulance sirens, we won't hear that on the recording, so it's a great thing for us to do. We don't have any unmuting planned for today, but if you have a question, you can go ahead and chat it in the chat area. Also, obviously, the call's being recorded. So after this webinar, we will go ahead and send that out to anybody who attended and anybody who was unable to attend. So you can keep that in your files for your records to reference or to share, whatever you like. We're really excited to be doing the webinar, and we're looking forward to giving you some of these tips and helping you have a better experience with your meetings. So with that, I am going to share my screen because a lot of what I'm going to talk about in terms of preparing your call can be done through your account dashboard. So let me get to the dashboard. If you have not been in your Callbridge account yet, maybe you're just holding some audio calls and you haven't logged in for a while, go ahead and log in. All of these great settings are behind your user login, and they are going to allow you to better manage things on the front end. So with that, we're going to jump into the settings section. And the first thing that we'd like to tell you in regards to preparing your call and getting some stuff done before the call actually happens is the waiting room. So a little bit about the waiting room. When it's enabled, and you can see here that it is enabled, this is green, that's the on button. All of your participants who join the call will be on a music hold until you as the moderator joins the call. Nobody can talk or interact or do anything until you start the call. If it's off and you slide it over and it's grayed out, then what happens is the first caller to enter the call, whether that's you or a participant, hears hold music, and the second caller will make that a live connected call. So what you want to do is you want to determine, do you want your participants to be able to interact or not before the call starts? Some suggestions for smaller, more interactive calls, it might be fine. If you're having an internal meeting, it's totally fine if they start talking and discussing things before you jump in. But if it's a large call, if you've got 20, 30, 100 people, you probably don't want to enable that. It makes for awkward conversation among people and lots of noise, so you probably would want to enable that waiting room. Please remember that you must join with your moderator PIN in order for that waiting room to be effective when it's on. If you don't have your moderator PIN and you're just joining with the access code, you're going to be just another participant waiting on hold in the call. We will give you more information about your moderator PIN and where to find it a little bit later on. The second feature that you can use to prepare for your call would be the entry and exit chimes and the name announce feature. Just to explain a little bit about these, the entry and exit chimes, as they suggest, are just little dings that happen when somebody joins or leaves a call. The name announce button will actually play the name that was recorded before entry over the call. It is up to you if you want to hear all of it, none of it, or only one of those items. Some suggestions. If it's a small call and you need to take attendance and you want to know for sure who's on the call and you enable the name announce, that's great. You can turn that on and you'll hear everybody that joins. If it's a large call, again, 50, 100 people, you probably don't want that name playing over your presentation, so you may want to turn that off. That's completely up to you, and you can do that as needed for each of your calls. The other, or the next thing that we'd like to discuss are the moderator controls. We will talk about this several times throughout this presentation because they're extremely important. But right here is where you would preset what we call your muting modes. So there's 3 different modes. The first one is conversation mode. That's actually the default mode that your account is in. If you haven't made any changes, it's going to be in conversation mode so that all lines are open and everyone can speak during the call. If you change it and you set it to question and answer mode or Q&A mode, everybody's line will be muted by default except for yours as the moderator. But participants can unmute and mute on their own, either by clicking the little icon, the little microphone button if it's online, or by pressing the *6 key if it is a phone. They can use their keypad to do that. If you want to have more control over this, and again, this would be a suggestion for much larger calls, you want to put it in presentation mode. That's the mode we're in today, and that gives moderators full control over the call. Participants are unable to mute or unmute their lines. You as the moderator can unmute and mute lines as you need to. You can also designate additional moderators. So if there's a few of you, like there are today, Sarah and I were both moderators, so neither of us will ever be muted, but you have full control of that during the entire conference. Recording, I love this one. You can preset the call to record, because for me, the less I have to think about while I'm actually doing the presentation, that's much better. So I can set up the call to automatically record either the audio or the full online meeting. I can choose, do I want to live stream it? Do I want to generate my Q-Smart summary transcript? All of that can be preset. So all I have to do is start the call. It's a foolproof way, because I have definitely forgotten to hit the record button before. And I have learned that I should always have that as a preset. We also want to point out pinless entry. Just because we were talking about the moderator pin, this will, again, take a little bit of burden from you. If you enter the phone number from which you will be calling in most of the time, or your mobile phone number here, and save that record, then the system will automatically understand that it's you joining an audio call and place you into the call as the moderator. No need to worry about, did you enter your moderator pin or your access code? It will simply join you to the call as a moderator. A bonus, you will get text messages if people have joined your call before you did. So if there's people that have popped in early, you'll know about it and you'll be able to make the decision whether or not you want to go ahead and jump in early as well, or actually wait till the start time. We also encourage you to have a backup plan. Let's say that you are planning on joining your call with Chrome, like we're on right now, but your internet goes out. We don't know why. It just went out. Your dog bumped the cable, chewed through it. There's a hurricane. You can't join online is the point. And you have to dial in. Just know that you can actually mimic all of those controls with star key commands. So for example, I'm flashing over to the star key commands. That's *7. That would actually allow you to control those meeting modes. You can lock or unlock the conference. So you've got those controls on your phone. It's always good to have them on hand. If you want to print this or maybe write a few down and have it by you, that's never a bad thing to do. So the next thing we want to talk about is making sure that your participants understand what they need to join the call. So it's one thing for you to do all this presetting and getting your call ready and you joining. It's another thing to make sure that your callers are able to easily join from any device and any method. So for example, if you've got international callers, make sure you're giving them the appropriate international dial-in numbers. We have a large list of numbers, both local access and toll-free, for many, many countries worldwide. And it's very easy for you to select these numbers during the invitation process. They will all show up on the invitation, and your callers can easily locate the appropriate one and join the call. Again, with a backup method, it's always a great idea to give them the online meeting room URL, which is just a fancy name for the link that you need to pop into Chrome to join. That doesn't have to be a webinar. They can join just the audio from that link. In case there's issues with dialing in, that would be a nice secondary way for them to join the call. So additionally, we would highly suggest having your callers on an online meeting run a connection test. You can find that here in your menu. So if I click on connection test, I get access to a very comprehensive diagnostic test that will run me through quite literally everything I need in order to join the call. Just for example, it's going to show me, is my microphone working? Great, yes, I can see that it is. It's going to run me through the same kind of scenarios with my speakers, with my connection speed, with my webcam. So not only are they working, but is the right device enabled. So I personally have a headset and an internal microphone. I want to make sure the sound is coming from my internal microphone. I want to make sure I have the right camera selected. Your participants can do the same thing. It will save you so much time if your participants can just prepare themselves on the system before they join the call. Then you can start right off with your content, your presentation, your discussion, and not worry about having to troubleshoot participants getting into the call. We also would like to urge you to test your own setup. You can do that in right here with the connection test, of course, but we think it's a good idea for you to go ahead and join an actual call using the same PC, the same device, the same camera, the same speakers and microphone that you're going to use on your actual call. Make sure the setup is exactly the same, so you're replicating your connection. Then grab a colleague, a coworker, friend, family member, just have them join for a few minutes. Make sure they can hear you, make sure they can hear you clearly, ensure that they can see you. If you've got a camera, make sure that they can see what you're sharing. Practice uploading your file. Make sure there's no issues with that. It just makes a lot of sense to run through it quickly. That way, when the actual presentation comes up, you've already done it. You know what's happening. There's nothing to worry about. And along with that, we're probably going to say this multiple times, but please, please, please get a good quality headset. We can't recommend that enough. Laptop speakers are not mating quality equipment. They will do for a short informal chat, but not for a presentation. You really do want to invest in a good quality headset that is going to give you clarity, reduce any type of interference into the call. And we can make some suggestions on that at the end of the call as to where you can get some of your equipment, or you know what, Amazon works as well. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Sarah, who is going to tell you what you can do to mitigate some issues if they arise on your call.
Thanks, Cara. Hi, everybody. I just want to say, I think out of the features you mentioned, the text message one is probably my favorite, because that's really good. If I've even forgotten that I have a meeting, I've got a lot to do, and I get a text message saying someone's on the meeting, or if they're early, that's a really good one. But yeah, if you run into troubles and you're not prepared, that's always really stressful. But most of the time, conference calls will go without a hitch. But knowing modern technology, you know, and there's so many variables, it's hard to predict what's going to happen. But it will ease your mind to know that we've got a few really good tools within Callbridge that'll help you overcome any challenges that you come across. Now, the number one complaint that we get, and I think across the board with lots of conference calling products, is echo. So let me share my screen with you. And I will show you how you can really easily, when you're on a call, resolve problems with echo. All you got to do is, in your online meeting room, just click anywhere. You'll see the menu appear on the right-hand side. And then you hit this sort of megaphone icon. When you click on that, you'll see you've got the option to mute all or unmute all. If you tap mute all, then you'll see you have the option to allow people to unmute themselves, and that's what you're going to want to allow, keep checked. So you hit mute all, and you'll hear that it plays that Q&A mode is on. Everyone's going to hear that they're muted. And then you can just get everyone one by one to unmute their line. On their phone, it would be *6. And on the computer, they just hit the mute button at the top. And then when you hear the noise come back, when one person unmutes, then you'll know they're the source of the issue. They can either join a different way, or keep themselves muted, and then everyone else can be unmuted. So I know some people feel like, oh, but I don't want to mute everyone. It's really like an operation that takes seconds. And instead of having everyone call back in or try and mute from their devices, this is the quickest way for you to be in charge of the meeting and fix it really fast. So yeah, our motto is, as what Cara and I were discussing, is stay calm and mute all. But so the other thing that can happen is if you have just background noise coming. So maybe Cara, you can demonstrate if you've got somebody either noisy or they've walked off and taken a call. I can see in the participant list where that noise is coming from, and I can just hit mute. And the noise is gone immediately. So I can just say, hey, Cara, you're noisy. And then when she comes back on or she needs to say something, you can just unmute her line really quickly. So yeah, the other one is active speaker. So if you have a lot of people in your meeting, let's say it's a big call, you've got a couple of different people from different locations in your company, you'll be able to see anyone where the audio is coming through their line is going to jump to the top of the participant list. I'll show you again how to find that. On the right-hand side, you've got the menu that appears. You hit open participant list where you see the little people icon, and then you're going to see everyone who's on your meeting. So the other issue people might have, and this is mostly with an online meeting or a web conference call, is that people can't hear or be heard, or their video isn't working, or you can't see or be seen for whatever reason. There's a few quick, simple steps. First of all, if it's an audio issue, check your device. Is it muted? Do you need to unmute it? If you're using headphones or external speakers or anything external, unplug it, plug it back in. It can be that simple. And then, I mean, I had someone recently that had problems with their mic. She figured out she just bought a new laptop and it didn't have a built-in microphone, and she didn't know that. So a bunch of sort of simple things. Check, do people actually have a webcam? Oh, it might be obvious, but go through the basics. And then what you can do also when you're in the online meeting room and both participants and hosts have this feature, you click on settings in this menu. And that's going to bring up this window where you can see the microphone that you're using that's connected. So I've got a couple of different options there. So that's my internal one. So I've got my headset here connected. So that's the right microphone. That can sometimes happen. People go, why is the audio weird? It sounds, maybe you can hear the noise of the desk or the keyboard when you're typing. Sometimes the computer's tripped over to your internal microphone. So then you want to just make sure it's using your headset. And then that one is also that's your speaker where it's going out to. You can check your webcam. I've just got the one webcam. Sometimes people have an internal and external, so you can switch that here. And you can also find a link to the connection test from this page as well. So you can just run through those if you need to. And on this point of equipment, I want to stress what Cara already talked about. It really is important to have either a good headset, or if you really need speakerphone, maybe you've got a couple of people in one room. Maybe you're doing some training, you want to make sure they can listen in. Then I'd invest in an external speakerphone. And again, at the end, we can show you some examples of some equipment we recommend. I know I had one user who was using his built-in microphone and speakers, and he was having a terrible time. And he bought himself a little external microphone that you plug in with a USB. and he said it was dramatically different. It changed everything. So it's really worth investing in a couple of good pieces of equipment. And that kind of thing can be shared throughout an office or a company. So it doesn't have to be an expensive investment. So moving on, we'll get out of here. So let's say you run through these issues and you couldn't figure it out. Maybe the person on the end is panicking. Maybe your participant is just not tech savvy. The quickest solution there, you don't have to worry about looking for troubleshooting documents and all the rest. You can just go to the conference details option in the menu, click on that icon, and this is really like a little mini dashboard inside your meeting room. So there you can find all of the dial-in numbers available to you. You've got your access code there. So if someone's having trouble, give them the dial-in number and the access code, and they can call on their phone. So that'll resolve audio issues. And just, I would make clear to them if you've got a screen sharing or videos that you want them to see, then when they join on their computer, they should just log out and rejoin view only, because otherwise that's another echo cause. If you've joined from your phone and your computer, then you're going to get that echo in the meeting again. So from here, you've also, and I'll wrap it up now, you can find our support site, and that is what I would, well, let me share that screen. So here we've got a lot of tutorials as well, so to help you get prepared, and much more in-depth even than we've gone through today. There's more videos, there's a lot of how-tos and user guides. You can download the user guide, you can find our status page, you can submit a ticket if you want to ask a question to our team, and you can even give us a call here. We've got numbers for international callers, for people in the UK, and a toll-free number for those in the US and Canada. So you can reach us in a bunch of different ways. And on the Callbridge homepage, we have a great chat feature, so you can reach out to the team via chat as well. So with that, I think I'll pass it back to Cara. And
so I'm chatting in a link for you. As I mentioned, we would like to provide you with a way to get high quality headsets. We all use them internally, and it's just what we found to work the best. So you may take our recommendation, you don't have to, but if you go to this site, you will be able to see all of these great microphones and headsets and speakers that are specifically designed for communication and for meetings, not for music, but for your meetings. So, and if you type in the promo code IOTM10, you will get a 10% discount off anything you order, which is fantastic. We'd like to thank everyone for joining the call, for taking time out of your day. We hope you found this valuable, and we wish you all the best success in your meetings going forward. Bye-bye.